Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert to you on research. Okay, so Bitcoin obviously looks like shit. So what's going on with this overall market? Is this the low? Yeah, I'm just going to talk about the overall market context right now. I'm just going to talk about Bitcoin for right now just because I think it's the most significant, obviously. Altcoins are pulling back for the most part, but there are some very strong ones such as Phantom, One, Near, Atom, uh, Matic, etc., etc. Some good ones. Okay, so if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I was very, very worried to lose this 39.5K level. To me, this was the last significant low. And I was very fearful that if we break below this current level here, then we're making a lower low. And while that's still true, I looked back at some of the old price action back in May and June. And I was very interested to see that these lows that were set back in January, this was, in my opinion, kind of the last significant low that was set. And what I mean by that is that you could see that this took about a month to form, this low in a overall high time frame market, bullish market structure context. And this was just kind of like a bull flag consolidation, whatever you want to call it, this 40 to basically 30K consolidation. And to me, this was the last significant high that was, or the low that was set. These lows up here, these were very quick moves. And as I was explaining back in May, this to me showed more of a distribution pattern than like a bullish accumulation or bullish low, a bullish consolidation, whatever you want to call it. Perhaps the only thing that you could maybe consider was this low right here that was formed in late February, early March. So to me, this kind of block, this consolidation was a very important low that was set before the run, obviously, to 60K. And I was very interested to see during this consolidation period that this low was taken out from before. And this was technically like a lower low. Obviously, this was the first wick down. But regardless, this low got taken out. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that even if we have lower lows structurally compared to like past consolidation areas, price can still continue higher if it's a wick. That is, if we're not seeing like some high time frame closes below, like the weekly or something like that, then I think that if we see some lows getting defended, then things are going to be okay. And this is just the BitMEX chart. If you look back at something like the FTX chart, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so the FTX chart, I'm just going to wipe this here. If you look at the FTX chart, there's some different areas of where this low is formed. For instance, on the BitMEX chart, we saw this wick down here. And price on the FTX chart wicked below this level, this 29K level. Whereas on like the BitMEX chart, you don't see that. You see that this wick was the bottom. Depends on what exchange you used. I mean, obviously these are perilous times back in May and June and July. Okay, so what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that if we start seeing some wicks around this area, even if it's a quote-unquote lower low than the previous strong consolidation area, then things can still be okay. Even in a technical standpoint of where it's a lower low, because if it's a lower low, then obviously that's when things start to get very scary on high time frame charts. So if you compare this overall June price action compared to the low set back in February and January, or mainly January, comparing that to right now, to me, this last September, kind of mid-September low that was set around 39.5K, this was kind of like the last significant low that was set. And if we start seeing some wicks down below around that area, like 39.5 or something like that, start seeing some wicks, To me, this is still okay, even though on a technical low, like it's technically a lower low, because I was comparing this price action back to again from January to July, ish. If we're starting to see some wicks down below and price getting bought up, to me this is still okay. And my overall mentality has changed because um, if you've looked at my recent videos, I was very terrified to lose this low because I was like, oh my god, if we lose this, then it's going to be a lower low. But if I compare it to kind of this price action that we see from January all the way to July, I can see that it can wick below on some charts, depending on the exchange that you use, but price is still able to hit a bullish market structure. So to me, even if this wicks below or like, kind of wicks around it, then I think that price is still, it still can be okay in a bullish market structure. Now, to me, the same triggers stand as they were yesterday, and I'll go into those in a bit. But let's kind of look to see where the areas of liquidity are. In my opinion, the current area of liquidity is this kind of demand zone around 40.7K or so, and this bottom of the demand zone to get wicked and tapped. Why is it demand zone? It's like kind of this last consolidation before price took off. You can call it whatever you want. You call it demand zone. You call it a order block. I mean, it's kind of older school, so to speak, back in like 2017, 2018, whatever. But you're basically looking at a down candle before a big up move, and that's where this demand zone happened. And obviously, this is where price is currently at. We're still seeing some high sell volume. To me, if this current level falls, then the next demand zone would be around 37.5K. Again, kind of like this pause, this down move before another up move. Again, so around 37K, and then price moved up to 30 or 53. This would be the next kind of area of liquidity, in my opinion. And you can kind of see that more as well with volume profile. You can really see this fat high volume node right starting around kind of this 40K area. So price really likes to trade in this area, if you can see on volume profile. And this area would be a interesting longing zone, kind of around 38K or so. These are the areas of liquidity that I'm viewing right now. I do think that we're at one right now. This demand zone around 40K, and the next area up to me would be kind of this 37, 38K area. Now, if price hits that level, are we just like totally fucked? No, I personally don't believe so. As stated before, comparing the January price action to the July price action, I think that it is a potential possibility, and one that I'm actually viewing. I'm still hoping to get filled on some altcoins. Again, I'm not really going to talk about those altcoins, but Near is one of them. So this to me is definitely an area of interest, kind of this 38K area. So let's go into some different scenarios here of what I'm viewing. So as I always like to say, price trades in three different areas or different directions: bullish market structure, higher highs, higher lows that we saw all throughout early 2021. A bearish market structure, which is what we saw where we hit a lower high and a lower low. And at that point, we just hit a bearish market structure, pulled down. And then the third one is just a consolidation, accumulation, market structure where price just chops around and does nothing. But this is really usually a bullish context. So obviously outside, once we left this this consolidation area in May, June, July, we hit a lower high compared to the May highs, right? And this is totally normal. This is like very expected. This area was very much expected to hit a lower high. Like if you went from the consolidation area all the way up to like the former highs around 60K without having a low, that to me is scary. It seems unsustainable. And to me, this was still, I was still not sure if we were in a bullish market structure at this point. I did de-risk quite a bit at 60K, 55K or 50K. And my overall plan was to see where the low was set. If we hit a lower high at this point compared to the May highs, and then we hit a lower low. So to me, like the last kind of low was kind of this, these areas that are on 30K, and obviously this was a minor low around 37K. You know, if we hit kind of this a lower low at this point, like here, and like a weak bounce. At this point, I'm very scared overall because this to me would hit a lower low versus this low. So to me, this low is here. This is the lower low. But we didn't hit a lower low. We hit a higher low, right? And that to me was this was the makings of a break in market structure when we hit this higher low here. And to me, the ultimate confirmation was when we broke past this high around 53K. Because once we broke past this high, to me, this was the last high that was set. And this, to me, was just a bullish market structure at this point, around this confirmation right here. Okay, so where does that leave us right now? If you look at it kind of like a fractal, right now we're currently in this green box here, or I should maybe do a different color, call it a yellow box. So right now we're in this consolidation period, right? Like it's price is chopping around, things like shit, like, you know, it looks pretty gross. Don't know when this consolidation is going to end. When it does, I do believe that the overall lows are mostly in. You know, we might see some wicks below, like it's certainly possible. You know, say, I don't know, 37, 38K. I don't know where it's going to go. Maybe it holds here. I don't know. It's quite possible. So what's next here is there's a few triggers here that I'm looking for. In a bearish scenario, obviously we chop around more, and then we just go lower. That's not much of, I mean, that's an obvious trigger for a bearish market structure. Obviously, it's not very helpful because it's hard to really act on it. But if we just go from here and then we go down to the 30Ks, at this point, it's just over for a while, in my opinion. It's not something I'm personally expecting. I personally am expecting a lower high first before we potentially go to lower levels. But this would be bear trigger number one. Bear trigger number two is we absorb for a while, go up, make a lower high, 55 to 60K, and then we break below a low that's set around here, similar to this. So like, you know, right here, this was the low that was set. Call it, I don't know, whatever, this color. Call this a low. I don't know where it's going to set. And then we break below this low. And subsequently, we just make some weak bounces and then go below. This would be bearish scenario number two. And the reason for that is because you hit a lower high and then you start hitting some lower lows, right? This would be bearish structure number two. And at that point, I'm just dumping everything. Bullish scenario would be chop around more. Again, I don't know where it's going to be. 38K, could be here, don't know. Lower high. Again, it's what I'm expecting. Same as what we saw back in September. And then higher low. Higher low would be, again, similar to whatever low is set here. I don't know where it's going to go. And again, this timeline is, I don't know if this timeline is correct, guys, too. Price usually moves faster than we think. So, you know, it could be in February, it could be in January. I have no fucking idea. Then hits a higher low, and then we just start to see more action like this. This to me, and the ultimate confirmation would be a break above the X is probably not the best. Here we go, like a check. Exactly. This would be the ultimate confirmation where you hit a higher high. over that, right? So my overall plan right now is to wait. I do believe that the overall most lows are mostly in. Like maybe we get a wick down to like, I don't know, 38K or something like that. I don't know where it's going to go. And then we hit a lower high. At this lower high, I am de-risking quite a bit. I'm going to be selling a lot of my altcoins. I'm going to be offloading some of my Bitcoin that I have. Yes, I'm a boomer if I have Bitcoin, and it's a boomer coin, right? But this is my overall plan: is to go and de-risk. It's certainly possible that we hit, start going lower after this lower high is set, but I'm really going to be very surprised if we just go and consolidate, chop more, and then we just make another leg down to like the 30K. This to me would be very surprising because I think that we need to go pick up more liquidity higher. Again, yeah, to me, this would be very surprising to me, this scenario, this bear scenario. But overall, this is still my plan. I still am bullish for now until shown otherwise. I will be de-risking around 55 to 60,000. I am going to see where the low is set after that. And that to me is that's just the plan. I'm pretty confident that the overall lows are mostly in for the most part. And I do think that there will be some good opportunities in the next few days for whenever this is done doing its thing, or weeks. I don't know how long. But overall, still a high time frame macro bullish overall, and do believe that things are okay. So if you are going to try and dump your shit, I do recommend that you don't sell when everything is negative and red. I would wait until at least hit a bearish retest around 48K, at least, because I do think that we'll at least see that. So, if you're just totally fucking wrecked, then I do think that we'll at least hit 48K or so. But that's just me. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for your support and watching.